Straight. What's your favorite Major League Baseball game?
Well, I'm going to say if I'm allowed to have two favorite games.
Okay.
My first game was in 1955. I was the bat boy for the Kansas City Athletics when they moved from Philadelphia to Kansas City in '55. And that summer, my dad was a friend of the mayor of Kansas City, a fellow named Roe Bartle. And that summer, I was the bat boy for the Kansas City A's. And I got to meet a lot of players. Gus Zernial was one of my favorite players. Vic Power, Joe DeMaestri, Cletus Boyer was on that team. Lou Boudreau was the manager, but I was their guy. And I remember my dad would take me down to the Mulebach Hotel in Kansas City. We'd stand in the lobby and we'd see the visiting team players come in. And I remember I got to see Stan Musial hit a home run in an exhibition game when I was in the dugout. And I got to see Yogi and Mickey go back to back one night, which I thought was really cool. So, and you know, in the eyes of a 6-year-old meeting, and Eno Slaughter, that was his last year playing. And so all those guys I got to meet, it was pretty neat, and forged a friendship with Jimmy Pearsall because of that. But that would be a memorable game, that first game that summer. But secondly, the 1956 perfect game by Don Larson.
What the heck, this game's been played over 100-something years. There's never been a no-hitter in the World Series. And he pitched the perfect one.
And then when you get the two teams, the big rivals, New York and Brooklyn together, you can't ask for a better setting.
It's something that I'll never forget, and I hope it lasts a long time. Who knows? Well, the biggest part of pitching is control, and I never had such good control. And everything that Yogi called for, I threw it pretty close to where he wanted it.
He was behind on one hitter. That was in the first inning of the Pee Wee race. He got 3 balls on him, and that was it.
97 pitches, 70 was strikes, 2 hours and 6 minutes. The game flew by against a great opponent, Sal Magley.
I'm glad I didn't have a big lead, because I could have relaxed, just one pitch against that lineup of the Dodgers, and I could have blown it very easily.
I'll guarantee that nobody has left this ballpark.
The only long ball hit by anybody from the Dodgers. Gil Hodges hit it. Mickey Mantle had to run about 500 feet and make a backhand catch off of the fly ball.
Bottom of the 7th inning, I came in the dugout and I bumped Mantle to look at the scoreboard. I said, wouldn't it be something, 2 more innings to go? I probably shouldn't have said anything, because then nobody would talk of me.
Now, when it gets into the 8th inning or something and you got a World Series game and they haven't got a hit, you have a little concern somebody's going to foul up or something.
I can see the folks already craning forward, leaning just a bit as they strain for full concentration on the performance here in the 9th.
Well, I was pretty nervous myself.
Carl Furillo, who will lead off in this 9th inning.
Carl Furillo, fly ball to Hank Bauer in right field. Now there are 2 to go. Next batter is Roy Campanella. Ground out to Billy Martin.
Dale Mitchell comes up with 2 out in the 9th inning.
I said, oh boy, I was worried because Dale Mitchell was probably one of the better hitters for years that could always get a piece of the ball.
Before he came to bat, I probably said a little prayer, oh man, get me through one more.
Every pitch came in, there'd be a roar of the crowd. And then it would subside just like the waves going out, silence. So they waited for the next one.
I was shaking a little bit, quite a bit.
There was that moment frozen in time when that pitch came in.
2 strikes, ball 1. Here comes the pitch. Strike 4. A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larson. Yogi Berra runs out there. He leaps on Larson, and he's swarmed by his teammates.
Everything exploded then. I can sort of remember that Dale turned around to argue. Nobody was there. Babe had left, and Yogi was jumping on me.
Here's Don Larson, 6'4", 215 pounds. And Yogi Berra, short, squat. And when they got together with the leap in Larson's arms, I mean, it looked like the baby being cradled up there for both their biggest moment.
That's got to be the highlight, boy, catching a no-hitter. It's never been done.
Well, I was just sort of thrilled, but when he hit me, my mind probably went blank, and it probably still is.
Man, oh man, how about that? A perfect game for Don Larson. There's never been a no-hitter in series play before.
I remember I'd come home from school and I was on the front porch of our house. We lived in Kansas City, and I was playing jacks with a friend of mine, and we were listening to the game. And when he threw that perfect game, I got in an argument with my friend because he said he couldn't have done it unless Yogi was catching. And I said, well, he couldn't have done it if Don Larson hadn't thrown it. So we had two 6-year-olds getting in a fight over the perfect game.
Perfect game.
But that was, and that may never be, that never may be done again, the perfect game in the World Series. But later on in life, I learned more about that game. Mickey saved that game when he caught a line drive up the alley by those monuments by Gil Hodges. He made a great catch. And then there was a lot of questions whether that last call on Vic Wirtz was really a strike or not. It wasn't Vic Wirtz, it was Dale
Mitchell.
Dale Mitchell. There's also a story that Don Larson had been at the Copacabana before the game. He just went from there to the stadium, found out he was pitching, and the rest is history.
That probably was true. Those guys back then would think nothing of throwing down a 6-pack of beer and then go out and play.
Right.
If they pass gas before the game, oh my God!
Oh no. But I remember Mickey always told a story about the 6th inning, and Tommy, you've been there. How people, when you're throwing a no-hitter, a perfect game, you stay away from everybody. You don't mention it, right?
Right.
Mantle always told the story about the 6th inning. He was sitting there next to Hank Bauer, and Larson came up to him and said, "Hey, Mickey, I got a perfect game going." Mantle always said, "You get out of here, leave us alone."
Straight.